It is heating up out there with temps climbing into the 90s.
Meteorologist Julie Broughton joining us now with what we can expect, Julie.
We can expect more heat, especially as we head through the day for your Thursday. Again, here's another look for you at that Daytona Beach sky cam. A lot of folks out there on this Wednesday afternoon enjoying the beach. If you are heading out to the beach over the next couple of days, we still have a moderate threat of rip currents, so make sure you hang out in your lifeguard. 86 degrees right now in Daytona Beach, and right now your winds are out of the east, but tomorrow as we start to see more of a southwesterly flow, that will even kick those of you along the coast up well into the 90s. Here's where we're sitting right now. Now remember, the normal high this time of year is right around 87. We're at 91 in Orlando, 91 right now if you're in Claremont, 93 in the Villages, and 91 in Titusville. This is what you can expect tomorrow. So we're talking about near record highs area-wide. 96 in Orlando tomorrow, 96 in Daytona Beach, Palm Coast. You'll go to 96 as well. And we're looking at a high of 95 in the Villages. Here's a look at our record. So your record in Orlando for tomorrow is 98. In Daytona Beach, your record is 93. Now, we will keep the warmer than normal temperatures around as we head through the next several days, including into your Mother's Day weekend. Also tracking some showers heading into the weekend. We'll break all of that down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Julie, thank you. We are working to learn what led up to a shooting that hurt 3 people right outside a nightclub.
It happened around 1:30 in the morning at the La Palace nightclub on South Orange Blossom Trail. That's not far from Sand Lake Road. News 6's Amy Russo is in Orange County with what she's learning about the investigation.
The scene is now clear. However, there's still a lot of evidence out here from that shooting that took place overnight. There's blood on the ground. We're not going to show you that. There's still some remnants of the crime scene tape that at one point surrounded this entire building. And take a look at this. As we get closer to this car, you can see that's a bullet hole in its front fender. Around 1:30 in the morning, deputies responded to the strip club on South OBT. The sheriff's office confirms a man in his 40s opened fire, hitting 2 men. A security guard saw the encounter, returned fire, and hit the suspect. All 3 were taken to the hospital, reportedly with life-threatening injuries. We were told a second person who was with the suspect fled the scene in a car. Check this out. It appears that person was involved in a crash and was arrested shortly after. La Palace has seen its fair share of crime over the years. In 2016, 2 men were shot during a fight at that club. Then 4 years later, in 2020, a teen and a woman were shot while closing a food truck behind the nightclub. The investigation is ongoing. For more updates, you can check back this story on clickorlando.com. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Amy Russo, News 6.
A multi-car rollover crash caused a lot of delays on the turnpike this morning. On News 6 Mornings, we showed you the moments a helicopter landed on the turnpike to take one person to the hospital. It happened near Winter Garden, and at one point a semi blocked all of the lanes there. Troopers say the crash also involved another car and a Toyota Tundra hauling a trailer. So far, investigators have not shared what led up to this crash. As soon as we learn more, we'll keep you updated.
Dozens of former Spirit Airlines employees held a rally in solidarity right near the company's Orlando office. Now, it was to honor the legacies and people who made Spirit what it was. Workers showed up in their uniforms. The airline abruptly shut down over the weekend. Hundreds of Orlando-based employees are now looking for jobs.
We, the frontline workers, might not even get paid for hours that we worked. And it's truly, that's an extra stab in the heart because we're already losing our income.
Yesterday, we told you Career Source Central Florida staged emergency events were today to help employees who lost their jobs find one.
Pretty dark. I haven't really been eating or sleeping well. Even, unfortunately, I did tell my daughter the news and she was really sad. Her father actually lives in New York. So he used the benefits to come and see us. And it's like when we need him the most, he has to buy a ticket to come down here and the prices are ridiculous.
Your Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton is at the demonstration. She'll have more on these worker stories ahead at 5 o'clock.
Just over a week ago, one man had a heart attack. Today, he is alive and able to say thank you to the police officer who saved his life. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver shows us the rescue and the reunion.
It's a remarkable moment. Doug Black and his family call it a miracle. He's alive, he says, because an Oviedo police officer jumped into action. We're able to show you the rapid response, the effort, and determination captured through that officer's body-worn camera.
Sir, he's unresponsive right now.
This is from April 26th. Doug Black says he and his partner Kathy were planning on going to church, but while they were there in the parking lot, he had a heart attack. Officer Chris St. John was in the right place at the right time on extra assignment duty at that church. This is his view as he immediately used an AED and performed CPR. It's about 4 minutes before you hear Black take a breath.
He came back. It's great to see you.
Wednesday, Black and Officer St. John met again for the first time since that day. We got to hear from both of them just how much this moment means.
You just don't know if you have a blockage. Unfortunately, mine was what they call a widowmaker. If these gentlemen had not showed up and performed what they know how to do best, I wouldn't be here right now.
I actually got the chills. So when you do this job, right, and you do this, you don't know if you're going to get a call, you don't know if you're going to get an update, and it's fine, right? That's our job. But when I heard he wanted us to call, and we called him, I heard his voice, it was great. I'm so happy to see him walking, standing, and talking, and everything else.
Black and his girlfriend drove all the way from Port St. Lucie to be here. When he had that heart attack, they were in town visiting family. I asked him what he hopes people will take away from his story. He says he hopes they go to the doctor, get checked, and realize the importance of CPR. In Oviedo, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
A family dog has been missing for weeks.
Yeah, they say surveillance video shows someone picking him up and then taking off. What the sheriff's office said about it and why the family wants deputies to take another look. That's coming up.
Plus, it is loud, colorful, and a little bit chaotic. Our News 6 insiders are checking out the flavor and fiestas at a new Mexican restaurant. You're watching News 6 at 4 as we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by True Deals Realty.
What's up, foodies? Today, I'm at Fat Rosie's. If you like your dinner loud, colorful, and just a little chaotic, Fat Rosie's is a must-try.
You can tell by the colors, everything's loud.
We're starting with drinks because Fat Rosie's does not ease you in. Arriba! The margaritas come out swinging. The perfect reward for making it through another week. Romanticize your life. Be drinking a strawberry jalapeno margarita in your sombrero. But beyond the fiesta vibes, this is a kitchen that takes the food seriously.
Everything's made in-house, everything's scratch.
First on the table, queso fundido. Hot, melty, and absolutely not here to be subtle. You don't come here just to party and drink, like the food is actually legit too. Then we head into the kitchen, where the meats are getting prepped for the grill. I've never seen anything like this. For the steak and fajitas, they're marinating for flavor and tenderness, then cooking it up hot and fast.
This is marinated for 24 hours.
Wow. Now for cochinita pibil. That slow-cooked pork shoulder that falls apart the second you touch it. It's literally just falling apart. That's amazing. Add salsa if you dare. I'm scared. But if you're a little nervous about the heat, just know that the habanero does not come to play. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Give me a margarita, give me a margarita. And finally, their sizzling, head-turning fajitas. You guys hear that? That's the best sound in the world. And of course they go big for dessert. I had Rosie's churro sundae, fried churros, ice cream, whipped cream, and absolutely zero shame. You want some? I could cry. This is the best birthday that's not my birthday ever. And that's really the magic of Fat Rosie's. They make an ordinary day feel like a reason to celebrate and somehow take the big moments and crank them up even louder. As you can see, that's not even everything I ate. If you want to see the full episode and my full review, just go to clickorlando.com/insider. See you on the next bite, foodies.
Well, I just put on several pounds watching that.
That all looked delicious. I needed to see that report yesterday, though, for Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, that's right.
I know.
That's right.
I ended up with my crock-pot chicken tacos. Didn't look as good as that.
It's a good old standby.
It is a standby. Speaking of standing by, meteorologist Julie Broughton is standing by with a look at our forecast. We got some warm weather headed our way.
We do, and it's already making its presence known. If you've been outside lately this afternoon, you know that we're already hovering near 90 degrees in most spots, but it is going to get even warmer as we head through the next few days. In fact, we'll be near records for your Thursday. And along with that, we do have that elevated fire threat. Now, as we head into the weekend, of course, Mother's Day weekend, we are going to be tracking some afternoon showers and storms. Not a washout, but we will have the heat sticking around for our Mother's Day weekend. Here's a look at those forecast highs for tomorrow, just to give you a preview of what we're talking about. 96 for your high tomorrow in Orlando. Kissimmee, you'll go to 95, 94 in Melbourne, and 92 if you are in Ocala.
Radio.
Here's a look at what we're talking about as far as fire danger for tomorrow. We do have fire weather watches posted for all of these counties, shaded in the tan there you see. We're looking at winds at times gusting up to around 25 miles per hour. So that is why we are keeping that fire danger in place. We will talk more about this coming up. But first, let's get out to the Central Florida Zoo for that press conference about the sloths.
I'd like to thank Representative Frost and Representative Escamani and their teams for coming today to talk to us about the work we're doing to save these sloths. I'd also like to thank Dr. Rebecca Cliff of the Sloth Conservation Foundation and Sam Troll of the Sloth Institute Costa Rica for being here today. We were very surprised when we got the call that Sloth World wanted to donate animals to us, and also by the number of animals they wanted to donate. As soon as we determined we had enough appropriate space in our quarantine area that we could prepare to meet the needs of these sloths, we said yes. The entire team was in agreement that we should accept these sloths, even though we didn't have any idea of what kind of condition they might be in, because we knew if they came here, they would get the care they needed to have a fighting chance to survive. We're a conservation organization, and saving species and caring for animals is the heart of this team and the core of what we do. The sloths all arrived here underweight, dehydrated, and lethargic. Some of them were more critical than others, but they were all in poor health. It was clear from the initial assessments of that first day that this was going to be a long road and that there was no guarantee that any of these sloths would recover and survive. You've all been covering this story since the day they came in, so there's no reason to rehash a lot of what you've already covered. But I do want to say it's heartbreaking for our team to see the animals that have been through so much. They deserve better. I appreciate Representative Frost and Representative Escamani because they see that some fundamental changes need to be made to prevent something like this from happening again. As you all now know, it's legal to own a sloth in Florida if you obtain a Class 3 permit from FWC. As an AZA accredited zoo, our team has an obligation to stay on top of the science and best practices of caring for every species in our care. That is no easy task, and it's unrealistic to believe that a veterinarian or lay people who are not experienced and trained with exotic animals can be prepared to properly manage the health of an animal like a sloth. It should not be legal for them to be privately owned, and we hope to see that change. There are also some primates, alligators, and an incredibly dangerous and large bird called the cassowary that are legal to own in Florida, which is baffling both from the public safety standpoint and the standpoint of animals ending up with people who don't know how to care for them properly, which will ultimately negatively impact their lives. Another piece of this that should not be forgotten is how huge the illegal pet trade is all around the world. Thousands of animals come illegally through each of our ports every year to be sold through the illegal pet trade. If owning exotic pets privately was illegal, it would dramatically reduce the market for some of these animals, and it would further limit the number of animals that were ripped from their homes in the wild for no legitimate purpose. Finally, I'd like to say on behalf of my team that even though this is hard, this is exhausting, it's sad at times, we're very grateful for the opportunity we've been given to try to save these sloths and set them on a path where they might have healthy, happy lives after this. We're also very grateful for all the support we're receiving from the community, from all over the globe, people that care about these sloth survivals. They care about the efforts that our team is making to save them, and it's so important, the conservation work that quality accredited zoos and aquariums do across the globe, and we appreciate how much people care about that. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Rebecca Cliff, the founder of the Sloth Foundation, Sloth Conservation Foundation.
I want to start today by focusing on the animals themselves, because at the center of all this are 10 sloths that have been through an extraordinary amount of stress and trauma. These are wild animals that were taken from the rainforest quite violently, transported across continents, and kept in conditions that we now know were completely unsuitable for them. And while we are relieved that the surviving sloths are finally receiving the highest level of care here at the zoo, the situation for these animals is still incredibly complex. I've spent the last 17 years of my life studying and protecting sloths in the wild. And one of the things that I've learned that makes sloths so vulnerable in situations like this is that they are biologically very unique animals. Their entire physiology is adapted specifically for life in the rainforest. They have an incredibly slow metabolic rate, which means that health problems do not always appear immediately, and when they do, they are usually already quite severe. They're also far more sensitive than many other species when it comes to medications, handling, stress, and treatment. What works safely for many animals often does not work for a sloth. We're hopeful that with the level of care they're now receiving here at the zoo, the remaining sloths will recover, but this is not an easy process and it will take time. A lot of people are asking us why these sloths cannot simply be returned to the wild. And as much as we would all like to see that happen, the logistics of that are quite complicated. Firstly, these sloths are already in very delicate conditions, and by putting them through the stress of international transport for a second time, that could potentially be too much for them. We also don't appear to have any reliable records showing where each sloth came from, although to be honest, the record keeping in this case has been shockingly unclear, so we're still trying to figure that part out. All of this matters because there are very real biological and genetic reasons why sloths must be returned to their area of origin. Without that information, we risk harming both the rescued animals and the wild sloth populations. So for the 10 surviving sloths, the priority should most likely now need to be long-term professional care, and long-term really does mean long-term for sloths because they can live for more than 50 years in captivity. Since January of this year, we at the Sloth Conservation Foundation and alongside our partners at the Sloth Institute have been working hard behind the scenes to uncover exactly what happened here and what led to the deaths of 55 sloths and how this was allowed to happen. And what has become very clear throughout this process is that this is not simply about one facility making bad decisions. This is a systemic problem. Vast numbers of sloths are still being removed from the wild, legally imported into the United States, and are being sold as pets or put into commercial situations that prioritize profit over welfare. So while today there is an understandably strong focus on giving the surviving sloths the best possible care, we also have to recognize that the only real way to protect sloths in the future is to stop them from being taken from the wild in the first place, because once they enter this system, there are very few good outcomes. Today we're calling for a ban on the import of wild-caught sloths into the United States for commercial purposes and for private ownership, and we will continue pushing for that change for as long as it takes. We're also calling for stronger protections more broadly, including a review of how sloths are currently classified, an end to hands-on sloth encounter experiences, and full transparency when animals die in these facilities. Because ultimately, these animals should never have been removed from the rainforest, and it's our responsibility now is to make sure that this does not continue happening to any more. I'd now like to introduce my colleague Sam Trull from the Sloth Institute, who can speak a little bit more about all of this.
Hello. So we're here today because 10 of the remaining victims from Sloth World are trying really hard to recover with the veterinary and animal care team at the Central Florida Zoo. But their battle's not over. They arrived at the zoo in extremely poor health, with serious digestive issues, including severe diarrhea. 3 have already died since arriving at the zoo, and none of the sloths are completely out of the woods yet. I have a master's in wildlife conservation, and for the past 13 years, I've personally rehabilitated hundreds of sloths for the purpose of reintroducing them back into their natural environment in Costa Rica. I know just how difficult it can be to bring a sloth back from the brink of death. After reviewing the necropsy records of 21 of the sloths that died at Sloth World, our veterinarian was able to determine that these sloths suffered from extreme amounts of stress, intestinal issues related to poor diet, and there was even evidence of physical trauma from lesions on their spinal cords. Sloths are highly sensitive folivores, meaning they eat leaves, seeds, and wild fruits. Wild fruits aren't anything like the fruits we can buy at the grocery store. They're not sugary. They're basically not delicious to us, but they're very delicious to sloths. Their adaptations to live in the rainforest have been perfected over millions of years, including their extremely slow metabolisms. Sloths actually have the slowest metabolism of any mammal outside of hibernation. This means it can take them up to a month to digest a single meal. And many of the sloths that died at Sloth World died with stomachs containing their last wild meal, while their large intestines contained nothing because of the frequent diarrhea that they were experiencing. While what happened at Sloth World is unique because of the sheer number of sloths that died in a short period of time and in one single location, the business model is not unique. This has been happening for a really long time, for decades, and it will continue to happen unless there's change. Sloths belong in the wild. Everyone loves sloths. They think they're cute. They love their smile. But has anyone thought about what sloths love? Sloths love being high up in the tops of the trees, in the rainforest canopy. They love sunshine. They love breeze. They like to have a good little scratch. And we're here today because we want to remind people what the sloths want, because they can't speak for themselves, so we have to do it for them. Sloths want to be left in the wild. And for this reason, we're calling for a ban on the import of wild sloths into the U.S. for commercial and private ownership. And now I would like to introduce Congressman Maxwell Frost.
Thank you so much. I'm Congressman Maxwell Alejandro Frost. I represent Florida's 10th Congressional District in the United States Congress. I want to thank the team here at the Central Florida Zoo, the veterinarians, the sloth experts who are doing the hard, careful work of rehabilitation. Thank you to the Sloth Institute, the Sloth Conservation Foundation for their advocacy, for their research and expertise in this truly heartbreaking situation. I first became aware of this from hundreds of messages from constituents, people across our community who are alarmed and demanding answers. I also received a personal message from Representative Escamani about this as well. And so on day one, we were made aware of this, and on day two, our staff began to look into all the animal welfare laws, look at the permits that have been applied for the federal government, and anything that we could do to help figure out what happened here and how we can prevent it from ever happening again. I had a responsibility to look closely at what happened and to ensure that these animals are protected moving forward. we quickly reached out to the USDA about multiple issues. Number one, we wanted to ensure that this specific person was denied the permit that he needed to open up Sloth World. The second one is we wanted to talk with the USDA, and we will be doing that, on closing the pre-opening loophole that exists with the permit that's necessary to be able to open up a commercial facility like this. Right now, you don't need a permit from the federal government until your facility is open. That is a loophole, because we believe that folks need that same permit as soon as these animals come under their welfare, and I agree with them, and that they should not even be receiving them in the first place. The third thing is we believe there needs to be a lot more coordination between state entities and the federal government. The fact of the matter is that FWC had already done an audit of this facility and had said that the standards were not up to par. The fact that this wasn't communicated up to the federal government and that something wasn't done before this happened is deeply concerning. And the last is accountability for what has happened. 55 sloths that have already died, and of course the 10 that are on the brink right now. We will be working as an office to ensure that this never happens again by closing the pre-opening loophole, by paying close attention here in Central Florida, but across the state of Florida, of folks who have applied for such a permit, and we will be continuing to call for those permits to be denied until the animal welfare laws in this country are actually patched to respond to the issues we see across the state of Florida, especially in South Florida, with a lot of the exotic animal trades that we see going on. And what I've learned is that rehabilitating vulnerable wildlife, especially sloths, is very complex. These animals have specialized diets, sensitive bodies, and very specific environmental needs. When they arrive in poor condition, recovery is not quick or guaranteed. It takes time, precision, and deep scientific expertise. And that's why, and I have to reiterate what was said, it's critical to understand that these sloths cannot simply be returned to the wild right now. Doing so would put their lives at even greater risks. Rehabilitation must be done the right way, guided by scientists, and by the experts who are here today and understand exactly what these animals need to survive. And here's what I want people to know. The sloths that remain here are receiving the highest standard of care possible. There's a dedicated team here working every single day to give them the best chance of recovery. We owe it to these animals and to the public who spoke up to make sure that a tragedy like this never happens again. And that going forward, care, accountability, and science leads the way. There's a lot of work to be done here, and my hope is that this tragic situation, at a minimum, can lead to us ensuring that we pass legislation. We work with USDA to patch these loopholes to ensure that money isn't put over the welfare of animals again. Thank you, and with that, I will bring up State Representative Ana Villascamay.
Thank you so much, Congressman Maxwell Frost, and I'm just so grateful to have a congressman that cares so deeply about all beings that call Central Florida home, from humans to sloths. And you know, when I wrote Maxwell Frost, our congressman, an email, almost a panicked email about this issue, I know there's so many other issues that we're facing, from the affordability crisis to international affairs, and so I had followed up with a text message and said, Congressman, I just sent you an email about sloths. I know it feels random, but trust me, this is a very serious issue. And he responded back immediately, and here we are today with these two phenomenal leaders that came from Costa Rica to join us today, both the Sloth Institute and the Sloth Conservation Fund. So please join me in thanking them for coming all the way to Orlando. It means so much, and they're going to have a very busy week. They're going to be meeting with the Attorney General's office and State Attorney's office tomorrow. They're meeting with our county commissioners, and on my way over here, I was on the phone with Florida Wildlife Commission with the legislative liaison, and we're in the process of setting up a meeting with both Dr. Cliff and with Sam for later this coming week to talk about potential, not just law changes, but rulemaking, because I'm very hopeful that we can also secure changes in policy through the regulatory process versus waiting for the next legislative session. And obviously their expertise is so important in any criminal charges, because the reality is that we have regulatory officials who don't understand the sensitivity of sloths. And you cannot compare a sloth to any other animal. And when you think about what a Class 3 permit is, these permits are defined by how dangerous the animal is to the human, not how dangerous we are to the animal. And so that's why serious reform is needed. And I also just want to say thank you to the Central Florida Zoo. the team here is carrying so much weight and so much responsibility and also a lot of trauma and grief in having to rescue these sloths with the hope that some can be saved, but knowing how sensitive and fragile the situation is. And when I saw an image of a baby sloth, I mean, just the sheer greed that you have to carry in you to think it's appropriate to capture any animal from the wild, let alone sloths, including baby sloths, for what purpose? To sell $49 tickets for tourists to come to Orlando and see them? We have so many other reasons why you should come to Orlando as a tourist destination. It is shameful and embarrassing that individuals who profess that they care about conservation to have ever embarked on this initiative. And that is why we need criminal charges, because if there's not accountability today, when will there be any? And so that is why on the way over here, I was also on the phone with the AG's office, because this is not a partisan issue. And I'm so grateful to have Republicans and Democrats coming together. Earlier today, Congresswoman Laurel Lee reached out to me, and I connected her to Maxwell Frost's office, because again, this is an issue that brings all of us together, because Florida is known as a tourism destination. This is a stain on that brand, but it's also a shame for each one of us that in our backyard, there is this for-profit agenda of sloths being taken from their homes for no reason but to make money. And that is so deeply unacceptable, and we will continue on this fight for accountability. And I just really want to encourage the public to please support the Central Florida Zoo. This is an organization that needs resources. This is a very expensive and unexpected situation. And so please, whatever you can do to provide financial support that is so desperately needed. I've had a lot of folks contact my office about refunds because they bought these VIP tickets and so forth at the now bankrupt Sloth World. And though I don't see a clear path for anyone to be made whole in that regard, we can at least try to support a clear path for these sloths to be healthy and safe. And it's our responsibility to, again, not only take care of who is before us, but to prevent this from ever happening again. And so with that, I will step away from the podium and throw it back to Richard to lead us to the rest of the program. Thank you so much.
All right, now we're to the question part of the...
For the congressman, we heard Dr. Cliff before say that they would like to see a ban on the importation of sloths. Is that something that you think can be achieved on a federal level in Congress?
My hope is it can be achieved. And like Anna said, this shouldn't be a partisan issue. And the hope is that it's not, right? We want to work with Democrats and Republicans to ensure the safety of animals. I can tell you, our office, we've been reached out to by everyone across the political spectrum about this, all around Central Florida, across the state, and across the entire country, too. And so my hope is we can get Democrats and Republicans together to work with USDA on the rulemaking process and to make sure that we close some of these loopholes, but also there's legislation that needs to be done as well. A lot of these animal welfare laws at the federal level do not change depending on the animal, which is a problem. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. And again, my hope is that at least from this, we can ensure that it never happens again.
Are you working on an importation ban?
It's something we'll be looking into. We want to work with the experts. We want to work with folks in Congress who've been focused on this for a while. Right now, we're focused on this situation at hand, but like they said, we want to make sure this never happens again.
Congressman, the pre-opening permitting loophole, how does that work today, and what are the next steps in looking to close that?
The federal permit that he needed to open up his facility and to open up Sloth World, he had not received yet. And part of the issue is that you don't need that federal permit until your facility opens. And so because he wasn't open, he was still going for it. And so we obviously advocated for that permit to be denied. But my belief, just short of course, an outright ban, is that you should not be able to even have the animals under your welfare and under your caretaking, even if it's closed or open. That's irrelevant to the animals. It's irrelevant to the sloths, whether or not it's open or not. The fact of the matter is they're dead right now because he was allowed to do this. And so our hope is that that's a loophole that we can close more in the immediate, because we believe that's something that might not need legislation that can be done through the rulemaking process at USDA.
All right, you have been listening to lawmakers and sloth experts talk about just the devastation that has happened to the sloth population of an attraction that never even opened. They are calling for a federal ban on having any wild sloths. They don't think these animals need to be removed from the wild. The 10 that they have that are being cared for at the Central Florida Zoo can never be returned to the wild because they have such a delicate system right now. And they were meant to be in the rainforest and stay in the rainforest. But now that they've been taken away, they can't be returned.
If there's any good that may come out of the situation, maybe it will be a change in the law, and so that something like this does not happen again. As you heard from Congressman Frost there, he said he's heard from people from all across the country, probably even all over the world, who are in agreement on this issue, that we need to perhaps do more to protect these animals so that you don't have dozens of them dying in deplorable conditions.
Well, you hear the number 55. It is just
lot.
jaw-dropping, and so your heart goes out to them, and you're just hoping that the 10 that the Central Florida Zoo, they're taking such great care of them. We hope that they survive.
All right, we're going to continue to follow that for you. You heard our Mike Valenti there at the press conference asking some questions. He's going to have more updates for us throughout the evening here on News 6 and on clickorlando.com. Well, Florida is the first state in the nation to require heart screenings for student athletes playing a high school sport. It's all under a new law that goes into effect in July. The law is in response to an 18-year-old's sudden death. In 2024, he collapsed while playing a football game due to an undetected heart condition. Your Orange County community correspondent Jana Manahalal got a first-hand look at how easy it is to get the test done.
So this is an electrocardiogram, also called an ECG or an EKG. That's the same test. And it's a very simple, painless, non-invasive, and it is truly a life-saving test.
55 days from now, the Second Chance Act goes into effect, which requires all first-time high school athletes to have an electrocardiogram or ECG before they can play any sport.
Starting July 1st, students participating in a Florida High School Athletic Association sport for the first time will be required to get the screening regardless of grade level.
Maybe a junior decides to play lacrosse for the first time. He or she is going to need a screening.
And the test is simple and quick. Carticini placed a few stickers on my body, connected the wires, and started the screening.
So the wires look kind of scary, but they're not.
Within 5 minutes, I was done.
It was so easy.
All of our tests are read by a pediatric cardiologist, and they are experts in kids' heart rhythms, so they can find out if there's anything potentially dangerous happening.
One random day, I was going on a run and collapsed and sudden cardiac arrest. This was when I was 17 years old. If this new law was in place, like back when I was in high school, I would have been required to take that ECG. And this could have been prevented.
Parents may think, well, my child is healthy. My son looked healthy too, and he's gone.
The next step is to go beyond athletes. Because this law is obviously for the high school athletes, but anybody can have a sudden cardiac arrest.
Orlando Health, along with other partners, will be holding a ton of different health screenings, especially one coming this Saturday, where you can get both your ECG and your sports physical. You can find the information over on clickorlando.com. For now in Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Jada Manahalal, News 6.
Pine Hills is dreaming big, and right now nothing is off the table, from grocery stores to salons, even a possible food hall. People are helping shape what their neighborhood could become. Today, Orange County is hosting a series of meetings, giving residents a front row to the future of Pine Hills. Your Pine Hills community correspondent, Jarrell Baker, joins us with a look at this new vision.
Well, it's a hands-on experience. People are using color-coded pens so that way they can place it on those renderings and also show whether they want to see a new business, a community project, or safety improvements. This is all part of a long-term plan to revitalize and grow the area at these events at the Orange County Multicultural Center off of Colonial Drive. People are getting a first look at new renderings, visions of what Pine Hills could look like in years ahead. And Tamara Johnson, Executive Director of the Pine Hills Neighborhood Improvement District, says that every pen and every idea will help guide them with their plan.
I hear, oh, we want a Starbucks. Oh, we'd love to have, big box grocery stores within the community. Oh, we'd love to see a high rise. But we have to be realistic about the expectations of what our community is, right? And who can come. But this is setting the framework and the invitation for people to come.
And that next meeting will be at 6 p.m. right here at the Multicultural Center. Now, Johnson says that all the information that is collected will be developed into a master plan. They're hoping to have the first draft of that plan ready by the end of this summer. I'm your Pine Hills community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
A major grocery chain may have quietly changed its open carry rules.
What customers are being told now and why the shift matters.
Are you ready to see something strange? Coming up, we dig into the history of this mystery house and get an inside look at the future of the site.
Can you guarantee that it's going to take place?
Oh, I can guarantee it's going to take place for sure.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Original Mattress Factory. Okay, are you ready to see something strange? Here is a house where you cannot get into the front door. Maybe if we walk around? This house is surrounded by fence. This is the neighborhood that never was. Can I ask you a question? Did you say, We're doing a story about this place right over here. Can I talk to you?
We're not going on TV.
Oh, come on. TV's the best. I'm the news anchor. I'm Matt Austin. How are you? Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Matt. This is Robert. Can I put this up here? Just so I can hear you. So don't be so skeptical. I promise I'm not harmful. How long have you lived here?
I live about 12, 15 years.
12, 15 years. How long's that house been here?
As long as I've been here.
I started to walk up to it to knock on the door and I realized...
You can't get in there.
Have you ever been curious? Look, I mean, you look at it every day.
Of course, I want to see what's in there.
To figure this out, we need to head into the News 6 archives, which is another way of saying this dimly lit hallway. Orlando Housing Authority broke ground on this land in 2004. The plan revitalized Paramore while creating affordable housing. But in 2006, OHA ran into problems. Mainly, the soil was contaminated.
Will the project be stopped? Are we going to finish? And will it be safe?
Then, in 2009, this single spec home was built. OHA says grant money dried up, the economy was belly up, and the idea died. I caught up with Vivian Bryant. She's still OHA's CEO 20 years later.
Why didn't it happen? Why weren't we able to make it come to fruition?
The grants just were not there, and we were committed to making sure that this property stayed attainable.
But the future is looking bright.
The stars have aligned for us to move forward.
When you take a look at the renderings, it won't feel like it is quote unquote affordable.
Oh, that looks nice. Dan Coakley with PMG Affordable will turn the site into 50 affordable rental units. HUD recently signed off on the deal. It's a public-private partnership, decades in the making.
Can you guarantee that it's going to take place?
Oh, I can guarantee it's going to take place for sure.
And so the mystery house that's been there all this time, that thing's probably going to get bulldozed.
No, it won't.
No, it'll
it
stay.
won't.
Okay.
It'll probably be the office for applications. Who knows? At some point, when everything is developed, we may sell it.
So there's hope for the mystery house.
Yes, there is. If you went inside, you'd be pleased.
Is it nice inside?
Oh, yes.
But how do we know?
Yeah, who's been taking care of that house
I
after
wanna-
all these years?
Now I want to see
right?
inside the mystery house even more than I wanted to know before.
Yeah. Well, glad to hear something will eventually be going in there, and hopefully it'll help the community.
It has been a long time coming. All right, let's check in now with meteorologist Julie Broughton, who's talking about something else that we wish was a long time coming, the heat, but it is right around the corner.
Right, and it is already building in. A lot of us already in the 90s right now. We will warm into the mid-90s for your Thursday, talking about near record highs, and also with that hot, dry weather in place and that breeze, we are looking at an elevated fire threat tomorrow. Of course, you can always track all of these changes anytime with our free News 6 weather app. Just search WKMG in your app store. Now, this weekend is Mother's Day weekend. We will be tracking some afternoon showers and storms, not a washout at all by any stretch. But again, that heat will stick around for your Mother's Day weekend. Here's what we can expect for tomorrow for those afternoon highs. 96 in Orlando, 96 in Sanford. Melbourne, you'll go to 94, even up to 96 in Daytona Beach, and 92 for your high tomorrow in Ocala. Now, again, we are talking about sensitive fire weather tomorrow. We'll see winds from the southwest gusting at times up to around 20 to 25 miles per hour. So we have fire weather watches posted until 8 o'clock tomorrow evening for all of our counties shaded in that tan color. Our weekend forecast, we're looking at the best chance of rain in the forecast, I think, on Saturday at 40%. Highs will go to 91 degrees, and then Sunday still tracking a few of those afternoon showers for your Mother's Day. So here's the setup as we take you into the day. Tomorrow, big area of high pressure, keeping our flow out of the southwest. That is a hot, dry flow for us, bringing us up to that near record heat. We're watching a front that will drop down into North Florida on Friday, bringing a few showers on Friday. But again, as those moisture levels come up by Saturday, we'll see the chance of rain going up just a little bit. So here's what it looks like by 8 o'clock Saturday evening. Looks like the best chance of some heavier pockets of rain will be across our northern counties, up in areas like Flagler County, maybe northern Volusia County. Then the first part of your day on Sunday looking dry, but I think we'll see some sea breeze activity, popping some of those showers by Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. Here's what it looks like for us right now. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando. Looking a little hazy on that shot. 91 degrees right now with winds out of the southeast. It is 91 in Claremont. Normal high this time of year is around 87 degrees. You are sitting at 94 right now if you are in the Villages. Our winds are generally coming in out of the east along the coast today, starting to see a little bit more of a westerly flow. So both of our sea breezes setting up. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. You can plan your day. Here's Kiwi, ready for some showers this weekend. Hour by hour, we'll be in the upper 80s still at 8 o'clock this evening. Go to clickorlando.com/pins. Show your pet photos. We keep it mild overnight. 69 for your low in Orlando. You go to 67 in Ocala. 7-day forecast looks like this. Again, 96 tomorrow. We could shatter some records tomorrow. Rain chances go up to 30% on Friday, and then 40% on Saturday. Then we're watching another front for Monday that bumps our chance of rain up to 50%. That is a cold front, but we're still talking about temperatures above normal every single day.
Julie, thank you. Publix is making a change when it comes to allowing customers to openly carry guns in its stores.
The new policy shift and what that could mean for you, that's coming up next.
Here's a good one. So are those single unit headsets allowed while you're driving here in Florida? All right, let's break this down real quick. Under Florida law, statute 316-304, you can't wear a headset that actually covers both ears while operating a vehicle. So the idea is simple, right? You've got to be able to hear what's going on around you. Sirens, horns, you know, a little bit of reality. So here's where it gets a little interesting. If you have one of those single ear Bluetooth devices, and you're pretty much good to go. That's exactly what the law allows you. One ear in, one ear open. But if you're rocking one of those big headsets covering both your ears, yeah, now we have a problem. Doesn't matter if it's Bluetooth wired or if you still think you can hear. If both ears are actually covered, you're likely going to get stopped. So here's the deal. Keep one ear open, stay aware, and don't turn your morning commute into a traffic stop interview with either me or any other cop out there. Trust me, I talk enough. If you got a traffic safety question you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
All right. Well, we are working to figure out why it appears a popular Florida grocery chain is reversing its policy on allowing open carry in its stores.
So yesterday, customer service with Publix confirmed to News 6 the company now has new guidance allowing only law enforcement to open carry in stores. In September, leaders with Publix initially announced it would allow customers to openly carry guns in stores when Florida officially made it legal. News 6 has reached out to Publix for more details about this change. As soon as we hear back, we'll let you know.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Local leaders are calling for accountability into the animal deaths at Sloth World. Coming up, we're live with the latest on the investigation and how the Central Florida Zoo is working to save the remaining sloths in their care. Plus, Sir.
Life-saving actions caught on camera. We're showing you the moment a police officer jumps into action to save a man's life who just had a heart attack. We're showing you the rescue and the reunion and the message that both men want you to hear.
scary stuff, and your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this beautiful look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. Now at 5, the death toll continues to climb after several sloths were rescued from a planned Orlando attraction. We're live with how local leaders and animal rights groups are now calling for accountability. Plus,
we, the frontline workers, might not even get paid for hours that we worked. That's an extra stab in the heart.
Dozens of former Spirit Airlines employees left in the dark after the carrier's abrupt shutdown. The new push to help hundreds of local workers now suddenly out of a job. Plus,
I'm Molly Reed in Daytona Beach, where we are heading into the Daytona International Speedway ahead of Rockville. What you can expect and how these organizers are getting ready to brave the record-breaking heat.
You're watching News 6 at 5.
Accountability and change. Those were the themes of a press conference that just wrapped up at the Central Florida Zoo, where 10 sloths associated with Sloth World are fighting for their lives.
Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti joins us live outside the zoo tonight. So Mike, we're getting some new information about one of the sloths that died at the zoo.
Yeah, Matt, Lisa, we just heard from some pretty impassioned voices behind me here at the Central Florida Zoo. Remember, it's the zoo which took in 13 sloths to try to rehabilitate them. We just learned about one of the 3 sloths that died here at the zoo. That sloth name was Bandit. Bandit died of severe emaciation, according to the zoo. Bandit is one of 3 sloths, as I said, that have died since the zoo took in some of the sloths imported by Sloth World. The current death toll, as you referenced, now stands at 55. Within the last hour, we heard from 2 sloth experts that traveled from Costa Rica to be here. We also heard from Congressman Maxwell Frost, who says his office is working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture to try to close some permitting loopholes. But the sloth experts have repeatedly expressed that sloths are delicate animals that are extremely sensitive to stress, and that the best solution here to make sure this never happens again would be a ban on the importation of wild sloths. So I asked Congressman Frost exactly that. Would he introduce legislation that would ban the importation of wild sloths?
This shouldn't be a partisan issue, and the hope is that it's not, right? We want to work with Democrats and Republicans to ensure the safety of animals. I can tell you, our office, we've been reached out to by everyone across the political spectrum about this, all around Central Florida, across the state, and across the entire country, too. And so my hope is we can get Democrats and Republicans together to work with USDA on the rulemaking process and to make sure that we close some of these loopholes.
So bipartisan interest here, something you don't always see in Congress. There's a lot of eyes on this, including in law enforcement. We've talked about the fact that Attorney General James Uthmeier said last week that there was an ongoing criminal investigation. State Attorney Monique Worrell was a little more circumspect when she said this week that they're looking to see if an investigation is warranted. Either way, though, we're told that the sloth experts that visited from Costa Rica, they're going to be meeting with someone from Worrell's office as well as Uthmeier's office tomorrow. This is a fast-moving situation, something that has garnered a lot of attention across the country and world. We're going to update you every step of the way. For now, we're live from the Central Florida Zoo. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
All right, Mike, thank you. Breaking now at 5, deputies are investigating a crash involving a school bus that shut down a major road in Marion County. The Marion County Sheriff's Office says a vehicle collided with the bus along Highway 40, forcing a complete road closure in both directions between Southeast 176th Court and Southeast 183rd Avenue Road. Deputies say all of the children on board the bus were not hurt. Right now, drivers are being urged to avoid the area and use alternate routes. No word yet on what caused the crash.
Now at 5, we're waiting for an update from FHP after a rollover crash shut down a part of Florida's Turnpike. One person was airlifted from the scene. We showed you this live on News 6 Mornings as a medical helicopter landing right on the Turnpike there. It all happened southbound near Winter Garden at mile marker 274, involving a pickup truck hauling a trailer, a sedan, and a semi. One person was trapped inside the sedan, then airlifted to the hospital. The crash shut down multiple lanes for hours, caused delays for that morning commute for many of you. The cause is still under investigation.
Heartache, disbelief, and the concern of what they will do next. The shutdown of Spirit Airlines left hundreds of employees in Orlando without a job. Many of them gathered at one of Spirit's now former operations center at the airport. And that's where we find your Orange County community correspondent, Talisa Hampton. And Talisa, you spoke with a lot of people today about this situation. What did they tell you?
Well, behind me, you can see these Spirit airline planes. That's where they saw several of these planes take off to where they say it was going to be stored. And they also say for them, this was not just a job. This was their life. They say this is where they were going to retire, where they made memories. Now they're forced to figure out how they will support not only themselves, but their families.
It's a painful and tearful embrace.
It's been hard. It's been hard to get out of bed. It's been hard to do basic stuff.
In their uniforms, one last time, former Spirit employees gather for a final goodbye to their livelihoods.
And I filed for unemployment this morning, and it's like I made so much to get peanuts.
The airline shut down over the weekend amid rising fuel costs tied to the conflict in the Middle East. Hundreds of employees in Orlando lost their jobs overnight, some finding out on the clock.
The thing is, the news was reporting it before we got anything from the company.
We just all need help.
Workers now worry about final paychecks as bills loom.
We, the frontline workers, might not even get paid for hours that we worked. And it's truly, that's an extra stab in the heart.
Well, just take a look at this big old group of Spirit employees here in Orlando. People say that they have been hugging each other, they have been crying, they have been trying to figure out as a group, what does their next future hold?
Or how difficult is it to find another pilot job? Or did you think, oh, I was going to retire here?
I was definitely going to retire here. It's going to be not easy because right now you have a whole flood of 1,800 pilots flooding the market, and we're all competing for the same bone.
Many calling for government help.
We're going to be there in D.C. to fight with the Department of Labor, Department of Transportation to make sure you're taken care of.
As what comes next feels uncertain.
Originally, this was supposed to be a goodbye, but I think it's kind of turning into a hopeful, like, maybe see you later with what's going on with the campaign to save Spirit.
And many of them say hopefully help comes soon, if not on a federal level, hopefully on a state or a county level to help them get a job. Reporting for News 6, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Talisa Hampton.
Well, let's hope so. Talisa, thank you. Well, one of the biggest rock festivals in the country is about to take over Daytona Beach, but the music won't be the only thing fans are feeling.
Coming up, how organizers are now racing to keep up with record-breaking heat expected to hit the event.
I'm Molly Reed, your Volusia County community correspondent. Over 200,000 people are expected to pour into the Daytona International Speedway this weekend for Rockville. It's a record number for attendance for the event in its 6th year being held here at the Speedway. And while all eyes will be on the stage, the organizers say they're getting prepared to keep an eye on the crowds, especially in the record-breaking heat.
And this is one of the biggest 4 days in rock music in the world.
The stages are set. The Speedway has turned into a rock city. The Welcome to Rockville crew is staying busy preparing for the fans, too.
We learned a lot last year and have applied that knowledge, and obviously checking the weather, making adjustments every day.
Event General Manager Jamie McCurry says they noticed the heat taking its toll on fans last year with a number of heat-related medical emergencies. She says this year they added a lot more shade and even some performances and events inside the Speedway.
We've obviously enhanced, brought in more free water stations, brought in more shade structures, and also more misters and fans throughout the site.
Fans are already rolling into Daytona from around the world, ready to watch 160-plus bands perform the next 4 days. Many say they're already preparing to battle the Florida heat, too.
Drink lots of water, drink lots of water with other additives in it, and stay in the shade.
Now, if you do plan on heading out to Rockville, one of the things that organizers also want you to know is that they have an app for the event that you can download, and there they put all weather notices and alerts to keep you informed the entire time. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Drink water with lots of other additives in it. I wonder what he means by
lemon,
that. Lemon,
electrolytes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cucumbers. That's always a nice touch.
Cucumbers,
yeah.
a nice
Refreshing.
touch.
Yeah, I think that's what he meant,
Meteorologist
for
Jonathan Kagas. People are going to need their water with lemon over the next few days.
No question about it. Yeah. Find the AC as well. There's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Sky Cam. Just a few of those higher thin wispy clouds. They pose no threat to any kind of rainfall today or the next couple of days as we have jumped into the lower 90s at the Orlando International Airport. A few of those higher clouds out there. Otherwise, the wind is variable, changing directions tonight at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, backing off on the wind and working its way back to a more southerly component to pump in some of that warmth. We're at 91 in Leesburg. The Villages, good evening. We are at 93 degrees. Oviedo, we're checking in at 92 tonight, 83 for us in Melbourne. Everybody is going to heat up even more tomorrow. Look at the start we get. Most of us into the upper 60s or lower 70s. Melbourne, we're going to start our day into the lower 70s tomorrow, and that's going to set the stage for the potential to break records area-wide tomorrow, getting into the mid-90s in Leesburg. We're at 94 tomorrow. New Smyrna Beach, you heard Molly talking about the record heat potential. There it is for us in Daytona. 96 degrees is our forecast for you guys. Rain chances tomorrow at 0%. We're supposed to be in the upper 80s, so we're running about 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Now, tomorrow, with the separation between the dew point temperature and as we get back into the mid-90s, that is going to be low relative humidity for us. You see that yellow shaded color on there. That's going to be that moderate to high on that fire weather risk. We do have a fire weather watch in play for tomorrow afternoon for most of Central Florida. Of course, it is dry, but then when you bring in the big time heat like this, that's just going to increase the opportunity for fires to start and spread. So be mindful of what you're doing out there over the next couple of days. Heading into the weekend, we do stay on the hotter side for Mother's Day weekend. 40% shot for a few scattered thunderstorms on Saturday. 30% chance on Sunday. I don't think the storm chances are going to ruin your plans. I don't think we get much rain out of the deal at all as this slides on through. So here's the rest of tonight. Just a few of those puffy clouds, a few of those higher wispy clouds that I showed you with the Orlando Skycam just a few minutes ago. Then we start to see just that flare up of a couple of downpours as we get into tomorrow. So that's going to be late tomorrow evening, firing up north of Orlando, then pushing toward I-95. Same deal as we move into Saturday. That's 4 o'clock. A couple of downpours trying to bubble back up. Otherwise, I think most of that action going to stay to our north. I think the same deal, especially as we start the day on Sunday. Things I think are looking pretty good if taking mom to breakfast or brunch on Sunday. 92 on Saturday, 40% shot. Orlando Pride back in town on Friday. Going to be a little toasty for the match. 30% chance again for a couple of thunderstorms on Sunday. Slightly better chance on Monday. A touch cooler, guys. Monday and Tuesday.
Just a touch. All right. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Well, the battle is brewing on the beach. Dogs versus turtles. Neither side is backing down.
Coming up, why some say a plan to allow dogs on Satellite Beach could put endangered sea turtles at risk.
And here's a live look at downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Your Wednesday evening traffic alert. Listen up. We are going to see lane closures pretty much all across Central Florida, starting with right here in the Champions Gate area. We see it all the time. No shutdown scheduled tonight, but just be cautious as you're going out there. Really never know what they're going to do. Up here towards I-4-528 and, of course, the Florida Turnpike. A lot of construction, sometimes a detour set up, so be careful. And then our coast. Please be careful along I-95 towards the Titusville area, and then, of course, the Bonita Causeway. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Taking a live look at Daytona Beach, where it is a beautiful and warm evening. There are several pet-friendly stretches of beach along the shoreline, but a little south in Satellite Beach, that same sand is at the center of a heated debate. An effort to make the beach more dog-friendly is running into concerns about sea turtle habitats. So city leaders are testing a plan that would allow dogs during limited hours, but not everyone is on board. News 6's Amy Russo has more on the debate and what's next for the beach.
For the first time in nearly 70 years, dogs may be allowed on Satellite Beach permanently during limited hours. So check out this dog that is currently on the beach during those limited hours. That's going to be sunrise to 10 a.m. and then 4 p.m. to sunset. So many people, they're calling this a possible win. Others are saying the beach is no place for a dog. A global hotspot for sea turtles, Brevard County is home to thousands of nests each year. But now there's concerns that allowing dogs on the beach could disrupt those nests.
Now we're going to have dogs every day trafficking up and down, urinating. Their urine is full of nitrogen and urea and ammonia.
Satellite Beach City Council rolled out a pilot program allowing dogs on the beach during limited hours. The idea to see how it fares before voting to approve it permanently. The Sea Turtle Preservation Society strongly opposes the change.
We have 150 feet of quasi-natural Florida left, and the more putting dogs on the beaches is not natural.
The rarest sea turtle in the world, the Kemp's Ridley, it's critically endangered, has decided to nest right here on this beach. Underneath the sand, there's about 100 eggs, and if disturbed, the likelihood of those eggs surviving drastically decreases. We walked the beach after 10 a.m., meaning no dogs allowed. We saw just one on the boardwalk. However, some people say they'd like to see that change.
There's areas that the turtles are not there that we can be more specific towards, or same thing, dogs are trainable.
City Council will be taking up this issue at tonight's meeting. We'll be sure to keep you updated on the outcome on clickorlando.com. In Satellite Beach, Amy Russo, News 6.
Well, people who live in Pine Hills are just talking about change. They are actually mapping it out now.
Coming up, the community's big ideas to improve safety, attract new businesses, and transform the future of the neighborhood.
And a mystery at sea after several people die from a virus health officials say isn't supposed to spread this way. Coming up, the latest on a cruise ship outbreak of the hantavirus.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. In the last hour, we showed you a press conference from the Central Florida Zoo on the sloths. that were rescued from Sloth World. Lawmakers are calling for bipartisan legislation to prevent the import of wild sloths.
Today, dozens of former Spirit Airlines employees held a rally in solidarity right by the company's Orlando office. It was to honor the legacies and people who made Spirit what it was. Workers showed up in their uniforms. The airline abruptly shut down over the weekend. Hundreds of Orlando-based employees are now looking for a job.
One of the country's largest rock music fests kicks off tomorrow night in Daytona Beach. The fans that'll be pouring into the International Speedway for Welcome to Rockville are going to be met with record-breaking high temperatures. Event organizers say this year they added a lot more shade for concert goers. A political dispute inside Deltona City Hall has now turned into a possible criminal investigation.
One city commissioner accuses another of threatening her and putting hands on her after a heated ethics dispute. Part of the encounter was caught on cell phone video. And tonight, the case has been forwarded to the state attorney's office. News 6's Alex Cook is live outside Deltona City Hall tonight with the very latest. Alex?
That's right. One commissioner is accusing another of threatening her and even putting her hands on her, and that interaction was caught on cell phone video right here in City Hall. I've been speaking to people today who say they're just tired of all the drama. The drama started when Commissioner Emma Santiago publicly asked for an ethics review involving Commissioner Dori Howington. Santiago says the issue involved Howington's role as CFO for the Volusia County Clerk's Office and whether that could present a conflict of interest. Santiago says Howington became angry after that meeting. She says the next day inside City Hall, Howington approached her, yelled at her, and followed her into her office.
That's on you. I don't care.
Santiago says that's when Howington put her hands on her.
Touched me, and I told her, don't touch me. And she proceeded to say, I know where you live.
Santiago says she felt threatened and reported the incident to law enforcement. A deputy's report says probable cause existed for simple battery and a threat against an elected official or their family. The report has been sent to the state attorney's office for review.
The people that I've seen react to it are like, oh, that was the touch, that they didn't think it seemed threatening just from looking at it.
Nobody, especially an elected official, should put a hand on anyone. That is against the law. She broke the law.
Are you and the commissioner going to be able to work together for the people after this, or what do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to continue to do my work here in the city, continue to do the projects and what's needed for our city. What she does, that's up to her.
In a statement, Howington said she, quote, cannot believe Santiago involved the sheriff's office, quote, in such a trivial matter. She called the situation, quote, petty, vindictive, and above all, political. Outside City Hall, people told me they want commissioners focused on Deltona's problems, not fighting each other. These are your elected officials in City Hall.
Acting like kids. They should be acting professional. They should talk it out amongst themselves instead of getting the sheriff's office involved.
We're still waiting to see if the state attorney's office is going to take any action and if these two commissioners can work together going forward. For now, I'm live in Deltona. Alex Cook, News 6.
Alex, thank you. Well, a deadly hantavirus outbreak aboard a cruise ship is now raising global health concerns after multiple deaths at sea. Health experts say at least 3 people have died. Several more are possibly infected. Now, if you're not familiar with it, hantavirus typically spreads through contact with rodent droppings or contaminated dust, but in rare cases, close human contact can play a role. Now at 5, CBS's Bradley Blackburn has the latest on how investigators are trying to determine exactly how the virus is spreading on board.
One of our passengers sadly passed away last night.
Cell phone video from inside the MV Hondius shows the moment the cruise ship captain informed guests that a Dutch national had died on board.
It happens at sea sometimes. Very sad, very tragic.
The passenger who shot the announcement April 12th says guests were initially told the 70-year-old died of natural causes.
I think most of the passengers are healthy. I'm just hoping them to give the necessary tests.
The man's 69-year-old wife died about 2 weeks later in South Africa after getting off the ship. Argentine officials tell the Associated Press both were likely infected with hantavirus before boarding, while visiting a landfill during a bird-watching trip in Argentina.
We do believe that there may be some human-to-human transmission that's happening among the really close contacts, the husband and wife, people who've shared cabins.
Overnight, health officials in protective gear helped evacuate 3 people from the cruise suspected of having the virus. Nearly 150 other passengers remain quarantined on board.
This is one of those unusual circumstances where hantavirus is spreading from person to person.
Swiss authorities announced Wednesday that a man who previously traveled on the ship and returned home at the end of April just tested positive for the Andes strain of the disease, which can spread between humans. But the World Health Organization says the risk to the public is low.
This is a really unique one-off occurrence, and we're not expecting any further spread.
The Spanish government says the ship will dock at the Canary Islands for a full disinfection in around 3 days. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
All new at 5 now, a family is asking for help after a 30-year-old Orlando hotel worker was found dead in a tragic incident last month. A GoFundMe has been launched for Aurelius Katinde. He was found dead under an industrial dryer at a Hilton hotel near Orlando's tourist district. Katinde was a hotel employee. He was found pinned under the equipment on April 23rd. Authorities say the death was accidental, but they are investigating what happened. Meanwhile, his family says the fundraiser will help honor his memory and support those left behind. We have the link posted on our website, clickorlando.com. New at 5 now, if you live in Flagler County, deputies say they've investigated more than 150 scam cases in just 4 months, and now the threats are getting more aggressive. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office warning of a surge in fraud since January 1st. Investigators say scammers are posing as deputies, courts, even banks to pressure people into spending money. Now, apparently, some victims are told they'll be arrested. Others get fake documents or texts with links and QR codes. It looks pretty official, they say. Investigators are stressing law enforcement will never demand payment over the phone or ask for gift cards or crypto. If you get a suspicious call or message, hang up, don't click, and report it right away.
A new study is putting numbers behind what many in Pine Hills have been saying for years. The roads can be dangerous.
Hundreds of crashes, including dozens involving pedestrians, now highlighted in a new county report. Your Pine Hills community correspondent Jarrell Baker spoke to neighbors sharing their concerns and pushing for real safety improvements.
There have been hundreds of crashes right here at this. Let's try that again. There have been hundreds of crashes right here at this intersection between Silver Star Road and Hiawassee Road. That's according to a new study from Orange County about bicycle and pedestrian safety.
We've had some pedestrian challenges where folks may have, had near misses and car accidents. And so it serves to, one, making a more pedestrian friendly environment, but also a safe environment.
Several neighbors at the Multicultural Center in Pine Hills Wednesday sharing ideas to improve their community. Now, one of the topics that residents talked about was improving safety, especially here off of Silver Star Road, where there have been 8 pedestrian crashes between Mercy Drive and Good Homes Road in the past year.
Pedestrian safety is important. It's vital, especially considering that Evans High School is right there.
That would really help cut down on everything. I would give the pedestrians another avenue to walk as opposed to trying to cross the busy traffic.
And then there's also Hiawassee Road. Now, according to a new pedestrian and bicycle safety study released from Orange County last month, this roadway right here has seen 37 pedestrian-involved crashes from 2019 to 2024. And right here where the roadway meets Silver Star Road, they said there's been 465 total crashes during that time frame.
At this one of our heavy trafficking areas, and even Dardanelle, where there has been many accidents. So to see some improvement done there for safety precautions is definitely needed.
Orange County says that this study and community feedback will shape what comes next on Hiawassee. We've reached out to FDOT about projects along Silver Star Road, and we'll update you once we hear back. I'm your Pine Hills community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
New at 5, charges are now filed against a well-known social media influencer in connection with a controversial Everglades incident involving an alligator. Braden Eric Peters, who online goes by Clavicular, is accused of unlawfully discharging a firearm in a public area. Investigators say the case stems from a March incident in the Everglades, where video appeared to show people on an airboat firing toward an alligator. Two others, including influencer Andrew Morales, known as Cuban Tarzan, are also facing charges in the case. All three are expected to be arraigned later this month.
These names. A major stadium push in Tampa now sparking a fiery debate over how public money should be spent. We told you about this meeting yesterday. Now the Tampa Bay Rays are proposing a massive transformation of the Hillsborough College campus on Dale Mabry. Plans call for a new ballpark, housing, shops, even a city within a city. But leaders stress the discussion is really about funding.
There's a backlog of roads not being paved, sidewalks not being built, parks not being built. We've got 20-year-old fire trucks. We have fire stations that are falling apart.
Under the proposal, public money would be used for the stadium, including about $250 million in city bonds tied to multiple tax sources. City leaders say those funds would not come from police, fire, or emergency services.
New at 5, Orlando tourism is breaking records with the busiest March ever, driving millions into the local economy. Orange County just reported an all-time high in tourist tax collections, topping $42.9 million. That's up nearly 7% from last year. Hotel occupancy was above 80%, and leaders say the record was fueled by a strong spring break and a surge in convention traffic. And looking ahead, experts say travel demand and flight searches are already trending higher into the summer months.
A Central Florida man is getting the chance to say thank you after a heart attack almost took his life.
Just over a week ago, he collapsed in a church parking lot. An Oviedo police officer working extra duty jumped into action and helped bring him back.
Today, the two finally came face to face. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, shows us the rescue and the reunion.
It's a remarkable moment. Doug Black and his family call it a miracle. He's alive, he says, because an Oviedo police officer jumped into action. We're able to show you the rapid response, the effort, and determination captured through that officer's body-worn camera.
Sir, he's unresponsive right now.
This is from April 26th. Doug Black says he and his partner Kathy were planning on going to church, but while they were there in the parking lot, he had a heart attack. Officer Chris St. John was in the right place at the right time on extra assignment duty at that church. This is his view as he immediately used an AED and performed CPR. It's about 4 minutes before you hear Black take a breath.
He came back. It's great to see you.
Wednesday, Black and Officer St. John met again for the first time since that day. We got to hear from both of them just how much this moment means.
You just don't know if you have a blockage. Unfortunately, mine was what they call a widowmaker. These gentlemen had not showed up and performed what they know how to do best. I wouldn't be here right now.
I actually got the chills. So when you do this job, right, and you do this, you don't know if you're going to get a call, you don't know if you're going to get an update, and it's fine, right? That's our job. But when I heard he wanted us to call, and we called him, I heard his voice, it was great. I'm so happy to see him walking, standing, and talking, and everything else.
Black and his girlfriend drove all the way from Port St. Lucie to be here. When he had that heart attack, they were in town visiting family. I asked him what he hopes people will take away from his story. He says he hopes they go to the doctor, get checked, and realize the importance of CPR. In Oviedo, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. Speaking of heart health, a new law aims to prevent sudden heart deaths in high school athletes, and it all starts with a pretty simple test.
Coming up, why Florida is now requiring heart screenings before student athletes step on the field.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
So the device you're looking at that's attached to my body is part of an ECG test, and it's going to be a new requirement for high school athletes here in the state of Florida. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahawal, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get one.
So this is an electrocardiogram, also called an ECG or an EKG. That's the same test. And it's a very simple, painless, non-invasive, and it is truly a life-saving test.
55 days from now, the Second Chance Act goes into effect, which requires all first-time high school athletes to have an electrocardiogram or ECG before they can play any sport.
Starting July 1st, students participating in a Florida High School Athletic Association sport for the first time will be required to get the screening regardless of grade level.
Maybe a junior decides to play lacrosse for the first time. He or she is gonna need a screening.
And the test is simple and quick. Carticini placed a few stickers on my body, connected the wires, and started the screening.
So the wires look kind of scary, but they're not.
Within 5 minutes, I was done.
That was so easy.
All of our tests are read by a pediatric cardiologist, and they are experts in kids' heart rhythms, so they can find out if there's anything potentially dangerous happening.
One random day, I was going on a run and collapsed and sudden cardiac arrest. This was when I was 17 years old. If this new law was in place, like back when I was in high school, I would have been required to take that ECG. And this could have been prevented.
Parents may think, well, my child is healthy. My son looked healthy too, and he's gone.
The next step is to go beyond athletes. Because this law is obviously for the high school athletes, but anybody can have a sudden cardiac arrest.
Orlando Health, along with other partners, will be holding a ton of different health screenings, especially one coming this Saturday, where you can get both your ECG and your sports physical. You can find the information over on clickorlando.com. For now in Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Jada Manahawal, News 6.
As we've covered over the years, it truly can be life-changing, and the fact they're making it free for you makes it easy.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
All right, we want to check it out with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, who's standing by. He's got some free heat for us on tap.
I do.
And some nice blue skies.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be the place to be over the next couple of days for sure. The beach, the pool, any kind of water source out there to stay cool. The heat is on the hottest days of the year so far. These will be eclipsed eventually, of course, but a little taste of summer. Here's a live look in Daytona Beach now. Beautifully blue skies, fantastic weather if you're heading to the beach. Again, air temperatures into the mid-80s. The breeze out of the east right now at about 10 miles an hour. We're watching and waiting for that shift to a more southerly component to pump in some of that extra warmth. And I think tomorrow, that's when that happens, and you will see us along the coast even jump into the low to even mid-90s. We're at 91 in Orlando, Groveland. We are at 94 right now. 86 in Wildwood. The Villages, we are at 93. Compare that, though, still we are in the 80s because the breeze is right now off of the, relatively speaking, cooler Atlantic. Tomorrow morning, we get a nice warm start. Kissimmee, we're starting our day at 70 in DeLand as well, 71 degrees in Sanford. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
We are surging into record territory tomorrow. 96 in Orlando, Wedgefield. We're going to be at 97 tomorrow. Same for us in Lake Catherine. Fruitland Park will be at 95. Bellevue, we're going to top out at 93 tomorrow. There we go along the coast as well. Joining the 90-degree party tomorrow. That's because our wind will be more out of the south and southwest, pumping in some of that warmth that is generated by heating up the land, of course, into in the parts of the afternoon, or as we move into the afternoon tomorrow. High temperatures tomorrow. Again, everybody in record territory. I think everyone has a shot to break the records. I think Orlando will be about 2 degrees outside of that, but everybody else through Central Florida are going to have a real shot to tie or break the record. Because of the heat, because things are so dry, again, the relative humidity is going to be low tomorrow. That's the big deal when forecasting fire weather, as it's called. And again, fire risk is going to be elevated again tomorrow. Fire weather watch is in play as rain chances, again, remain limited at best over the next couple of days. All because of this chunk of high pressure. It keeps that active storm track just to our north, even further north of the I-10 corridor. But you see some heavier rain trying to get going. It doesn't really make its way here, but rain chances do go up a little bit. There's a 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, still closer to the I-10 corridor. That is going to be where we have the better opportunity for the rainfall. Now here's a look at your forecast. Again, getting temperatures over the next couple of days back into the lower 90s. Here's a look at the rest of your 7-day forecast. Temperatures going to work their way back into the lower 90s on Sunday, upper 80s by Tuesday.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, a major milestone and a new push to tackle Central Florida's housing crisis.
Coming up, the new faith-based initiative that Habitat Humanity is launching to build homes for families who need them most.
It's a milestone for a nonprofit focused on building homes for low-income families. I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and as Habitat for Orlando and Osceola is celebrating 40 years, they're also announcing a new initiative that's demonstrated in a team-up here today in the Holden Heights neighborhood of Orange County. Today, Habitat Orlando and Osceola was joined alongside First Presbyterian Church of Orlando to launch the Faith Build Initiative. Organizers tell us it brings people together through a shared purpose, combining faith, service, and commitment to make a meaningful impact through stable and affordable housing. The effort aims to bring in volunteer support from several faith-based organizations to build homes for low-income families. This is happening as Orlando is among the lowest in the country for available affordable housing. It's an issue that hopefully will be improved with this initiative.
Which is to come out, bring their congregation, and have a great day supporting their community and building a home for a very deserving family.
For today's effort, more than 20 members of First Presbyterian volunteered to install siding on a home. The partnership is especially meaningful as a member of the church helped establish Habitat Orlando and Osceola in 1986. Now, going forward, the nonprofit is working to organize builds with other faith-based organizations. They're encouraging anyone interested to reach out. We posted details about that under this story on clickorlando.com. In Orange County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
An update tonight on a story so many of you at home care about, the ongoing controversy about 55 dead sloths. Coming up, we are hearing from the leaders and experts about the exotic animals being treated now by the Central Florida Zoo after they were rescued from Sloth World.
I'm Molly Reed in Daytona Beach, where we are heading into the Daytona International Speedway ahead of Rockville. What you can expect and how these organizers are getting ready to brave the record-breaking heat.
near record highs. That's what parts of Central Florida could see soon. Plus,
we, the frontline workers, might not even get paid for hours that we worked. That's an extra stab in the heart because we're already losing our income.
a show of support for Spirit Airline workers impacted by the abrupt closure. And questions are on the rise about an empty house in Paramore.
Are you ready to see something strange? Coming up, we dig into the history of this mystery house and get an inside look at the future of the site. Can you guarantee that it's going to take place?
Oh, I can guarantee it's going to take place for sure.
News 6 at 6 starts now.
Let's begin tonight with some breaking news out of DeLand. Fire crews on the site of a scrapyard fire near East Samuel Street and Garfield Avenue. The DeLand Fire Department is urging people to avoid this area. It could cause issues with your breathing or your eyes. Officials say if you live here, stay indoors, close the windows. Once we learn some more about this fire, we'll let you know. All right, taking a look on the coast and in Mount Dora. It looks like a beautiful night across Central Florida, but you can start to feel the heat across the board.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. It is going to feel like summer in the coming days. There are some big events coming up here in Central Florida, too. This weekend, the City Beautiful will be home to the Rolling Loud Music Festival starting Friday.
If you're not a hip-hop fan and enjoy rock, tomorrow will be the start of Welcome to Rockville at Daytona International Speedway. Both run through Sunday. Let's get you a look at your weather right now. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas telling us about those temperatures, which are on the rise.
They are on the rise, and some of us could be setting new records by the time we talk at this time tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Right now, it is warm in and of itself. We're at 91 at Sanford. Oviedo, we are checking in at 92 right now. Groveville in the hot spot tonight. We are at 94. 87 for us in Holopah. We're at 84 degrees. In Palm Bay, a little cooler along the coast, the breeze still off of the Atlantic. That will change tomorrow, and we will warm up very quickly as well, even right along the coast. A forecast for Orlando is 96. It'll put us right in the ballpark of breaking a record. It looks like we're going to get a new record in Melbourne. Also, Daytona Beach, we should surge past our old record. Leesburg, we were at 95. That would break our record of 94, set back in 1984. Sanford, we are at 96 degrees. The record is 94. So most of Central Florida is at least looking at a record tie. Most of us should break a record easily. We're going to talk much more about how long this latest round of warm weather, hot weather sticks around, coming up at about 6:17, guys.
I liked how you changed it from warm to hot.
Yeah,
All right.
you start saying hot now.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, the heat could once again prove to be a major battle for one of the country's largest rock festivals. Welcome to Rockville kicks off tomorrow night in Daytona Beach.
The fans that'll be pouring into International Speedway are going to be met with some record-breaking high temperatures. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is going inside the Speedway with a look at how fans can keep cool.
Over 200,000 rock fans are expected to pile through these gates to head into the Speedway this weekend for Rockville. It's the biggest turnout they're expecting in the event history in its 6th year here at the International Speedway. Now, while all eyes will likely be on the stages and the performances this weekend, organizers say their eyes and first responders' eyes will be on the crowds, especially with the record-breaking heat expected.
This is one of the biggest 4 days in rock music in the world.
The stages are set. The Speedway has turned into a rock city. The Welcome to Rockville crew is staying busy preparing for the fans, too.
We learned a lot last year and have applied that knowledge and obviously checking the weather, making adjustments every day.
Event General Manager Chamie McCurry says they noticed the heat taking its toll on fans last year with a number of heat-related medical emergencies. She says this year they added a lot more shade and even some performances and events inside the Speedway.
We've obviously enhanced, brought in more free water stations, brought in more shade structures, and also more misters and fans throughout the site.
Fans are already rolling into Daytona from around the world, ready to watch 160-plus bands perform the next 4 days. Many say they're already preparing to battle the Florida heat, too.
Drink lots of water, drink lots of water with other additives in it, and stay in the shade.
Now, if you do plan on heading out to Rockville, one of the things that organizers also want you to know is that they have an app for the event that you can download, and there they put all weather notices and alerts to keep you informed the entire time. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Developing tonight in Seminole County, 10 sloths fighting for their lives as calls for accountability for Sloth World mount.
Yes, 55 sloths have died so far, including 3 of the 13 taken in by the Central Florida Zoo. And that is where we find News 6's Mike Valenti tonight. Mike, just a tragic story. Bring us up to date here.
Yeah, Ginger, Matt, really awful, and we're following it every step of the way. A little bit ago, we've heard from sloth experts and local politicians. I'm going to get to that in a second, but first, I want to talk about one of the 3 sloths that was unable to make a recovery here. We're talking about Bandit, one of 13 sloths that arrived at the Central Florida Zoo on April 24th. On April 29th, just 5 days later, Bandit died. And just today, we learned from representatives of the zoo that the necropsy report for Bandit showed the primary causes of death to be emaciation and effusions. Now, we've told you about the other necropsy reports of sloths that died while being held in a warehouse by Sloth World in Orange County. They showed that stress had contributed to their deaths. At the press conference today, we heard from Congressman Maxwell Frost, who decried the treatment of the sloths. I asked him, would he work on a bill that bans the importation of wild sloths into the country? You're about to hear from him, but first, here's a veterinarian with the zoo on the sloths under his care.
All 13 sloths had come in varying degrees of emaciation. They all had varying degrees of diarrhea, which just stems from, that shows that we've had some stress, maybe there's some infection.
This shouldn't be a partisan issue, and the hope is that it's not, right? We want to work with Democrats and Republicans to ensure the safety of animals. I can tell you, our office, we've been reached out to by everyone across the political spectrum about this, all around Central Florida, across the state, and across the entire country, too. And so my hope is we can get Democrats and Republicans together to work with USDA on the rulemaking process and to make sure that we close some of these loopholes.
So that veterinarian you just heard from said that the 10 remaining sloths that are fighting for their lives right now remain in intensive care. As for criminal liability here, obviously there's a lot of people wondering if any charges will be brought forth. Attorney General James Uthmeier has said there is an ongoing criminal probe into Sloth World. Monique Worrell has been a little more cautious in her language, saying they're still deciding if an investigation is warranted. Tomorrow, 2 sloth experts that traveled here from Costa Rica will be meeting with representatives from both Monique Worrell's office and James Uthmeier's office. We're live at the Central Florida Zoo tonight. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
It's not the last we've heard of this story. Mike, thank you. Developing tonight in Deltona, the state attorney's office covering Volusia County is investigating an elected official for a felony. This all happened yesterday at Deltona City Hall. So take a look at the cell phone video of the confrontation. You're looking at Commissioner Emma Santiago and Commissioner Dory Howington during a heated conversation. Santiago says Howington told her, quote, "I know where you live," and then patted her on the shoulder, which you're about to see here in a moment. Santiago says she now has concerns for the safety of her family and wants to press charges. Volusia deputies say there's probable cause to charge Commissioner Howington with battery and threatening an elected official.
Heartache, disbelief, and concern of what they will do next. The shutdown of Spirit Airlines left hundreds of employees in Orlando without a job. Many of them gathered at one of Spirit's now former operations center at the airport. Your Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton spoke to several people impacted by the abrupt closure.
And those employees, they saw several of these Spirit planes take off to where they say it will be stored. They say for them, it was not just a job. This was their life. This is where they were planning to retire and where they made memories. And now they're forced to think about how they will now support not only themselves, but their families.
It's a painful and tearful embrace.
It's been hard. It's been hard to get out of bed. It's been hard to do basic stuff.
In their uniforms, one last time, former Spirit employees gather for a final goodbye to their livelihoods.
And I filed for unemployment this morning, and it's like I made so much to get peanuts.
The airline shut down over the weekend amid rising fuel costs tied to the conflict in the Middle East. Hundreds of employees in Orlando lost their jobs overnight, some finding out on the clock.
The thing is, the news was reporting it before we got anything from the company.
We just all need help.
Workers now worry about final paychecks as bills loom.
We, the frontline workers, might not even get paid for hours that we worked. And it's truly, that's an extra stab in the heart.
Well, just take a look at this big old group of Spirit employees here in Orlando. People say that they have been hugging each other, they have been crying, they have been trying to figure out as a group, what does their next future hold?
Or how difficult is it to find another pilot job? Or did you think, oh, I was going to retire here?
I was definitely going to retire here. It's going to be not easy because right now we have a whole flood of 1,800 pilots flooding the market, and we're all competing for the same bone.
Many calling for government help.
We're going to be there in D.C. to fight with the Department of Labor, Department of Transportation to make sure you're taken care of.
As what comes next feels uncertain.
Originally, this was supposed to be a goodbye, but I think it's kind of turning into a hopeful, like, maybe see you later with what's going on with the campaign to save Spirit.
And many of them say hopefully help comes soon, if not on a federal level, hopefully on a state or a county level to help them get a job. Reporting for News 6, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton.
Now to a heartwarming story tonight out of Seminole County. Just over a week ago, a man had a heart attack, but today he was able to thank the police officer who jumped into action to save his life. Doug Black's family says he's alive because of an Oviedo police officer's quick action. The officer performed CPR and used an AED in a church parking lot. Officer Chris St. John was in the right place at the right time. He was working an extra assignment duty at the church. Today, the two reconnected for the first time since that pivotal moment.
These gentlemen had not showed up and performed what they know how to do best, I wouldn't be here right now.
You don't know if you're going to get a call, you don't know if you're going to get an update, and it's fine, right? That's our job. But when I heard he wanted us to call and we called him, I heard his voice, it was great. I'm so happy to see him walking, standing, and talking and everything else.
Black says he hopes this is something people can use to go to the doctor or get checked, and stresses the importance of knowing CPR.
Leaders in Satellite Beach are set to vote on dogs on the beach.
But there is some pushback on this new rule coming up. We're breaking down the ordinance that could become a permanent staple during a vote later tonight. Plus,
have you ever been curious? Look, I mean, you look at it every day.
Of course, I want to see what's in there.
Plus, a curious case in Paramore. I'm looking into what's going on with a mystery home on Conley Street.
Hey, I'm Tony DeKilpo. Here's what we're working on ahead of the CBS Evening News. The latest from the Middle East and, of course, the cruise ship and the Hunter virus. But we're really excited about the good stuff tonight. A story about Pope Leo needing to call his bank to make a change to the phone number on file. He reaches customer service. How'd it go for the Pope? A miracle or not? That story ahead on the CBS Evening News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
We're staying on top of breaking news out of DeLand tonight. Fire crews are on the scene of a scrapyard fire. This is near East Samuel Street and Garfield Avenue. This is a live look now at emergency crews on scene. The DeLand Fire Department is urging people to avoid this area because of the fire, and it could also cause issues with breathing and irritate your eyes. Officials say if you live in this area, to stay inside and close your windows. Once we learn more about what's going on out here and when this fire is out, we'll let you know.
Well, it's a case of curiosity tonight in Paramore. A mystery home raising questions for neighbors on Connolly Street. Neighbors tell me nobody's lived there for decades. It sits by open land. It looks pretty nice. So I got curious too, went out to check it out and learn more about the future of this area tonight.
Okay, are you ready to see something strange? Here is a house where you cannot get into the front door. Maybe if we walk around? This house is surrounded by fence. This is the neighborhood that never was. We're doing a story about this place right over here. Can I talk to you?
You're not going on TV.
Oh, come on! TV's the best. I'm the news anchor. I'm Matt Austin. How are you?
How long have you lived here?
I live about 12, 15 years.
12, 15 years. How long's that house been here?
As long as I've been here.
Have you ever been curious? Look, I mean, you look at it every day.
Of course, I want to see what's in there.
To figure this out, we need to head into the News 6 archives, which is another way of saying this dimly lit hallway.
Orlando Housing Authority broke ground on this land in 2004. The plan revitalized Paramore while creating affordable housing. But in 2006, OHA ran into problems. Mainly, the soil was contaminated.
Are we going to finish? And will it be safe?
Then, in 2009, this single spec home was built. OHA says grant money dried up, the economy was belly up, and the idea died. I caught up with Vivian Bryant. She's still OHA's CEO 20 years later.
Why didn't it happen? Why weren't we able to make it come to fruition?
The grants just were not there, and we were committed to making sure that this property stayed attainable.
But the future is looking bright.
The stars have aligned for us to move forward.
When you take a look at the renderings, it won't feel like it is quote-unquote affordable.
Oh, that looks nice. Dan Coakley with PMG Affordable will turn the site into 50 affordable rental units. HUD recently signed off on the deal, decades in the making.
Can you guarantee that it's going to take place?
Oh, I can guarantee it's going to take place for sure.
So the plan for the area now breaking ground early next year. People may be moving in as early as 2028. As for the Mystery House, OHA says they will keep it as an application office, and when everything is developed, they might even sell it, so maybe one day somebody could actually live.
Guaranteed. All right. Well, for the first time in nearly 70 years, Satellite Beach may allow dogs on the beach permanently during limited hours, though, from sunrise until 10 in the morning. Then again, from 4 p.m. to sunset, dogs would be given the green light. Some call this a win, and others say they're concerned allowing dogs on the beach would disrupt the turtle nests there. City Council members are meeting right now with this issue on the agenda. We'll let you know what they decide.
Time to talk about the heat. It is the elephant lingering in the room here. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. It was warm today, but we're talking hot.
Yeah, we're at about 3 or 4 degrees on top of what we had today. So a little taste of what is to come for the next several months once we turn the corner. We're not there yet, but we are going to get that little taste. Here's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam this evening. We have air temperatures back in the lower 90s under a mainly cloudy sky. There are those higher, thinner clouds, so you can still see through them a little bit. There's the wind shift out of the south. And tomorrow, that is going to help to pump in the warmth. Even for us along the coast, we're going to shift that wind direction completely. And rather than being off the Atlantic, it's going to be out of the south and southwest. And we will see that warmth that's generated from the heating of the day on land kind of push back over toward us. We're at 94 right now in Groveland. Compare that to 84 in New Smyrna Beach. Sanford, good evening. We are at 91. Oviedo, we are also at 91. We're in the lower 90s in Apopka tonight. Tomorrow morning, we are starting things off One of the warmer mornings we have seen so far this season, hanging around 70 in Leesburg, right around 71 degrees in Daytona, 71 also in Titusville. Near record heat tomorrow. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Air temperatures tomorrow getting back into the middle 90s. We're at 96 degrees in Sanford. Palm Bay, we're at 94. And this is what I'm talking about again. We're running about 10 degrees or so warmer than where we were today along the coast. More like 3 or 4 degrees above warmer than where we were today. We're at 94 in Wildwood, Ocala. We're going to be at 92 degrees tomorrow. Rain chances tomorrow at 0%. With the heat being separated from the dew point, again, pretty large difference tomorrow. That fire risk going up, that means a low relative humidity. So here we go at 7 o'clock. When you see green on the map, this is in the morning. We're doing okay. There's a low fire risk. In terms of the weather conditions, obviously we are super dry. But then as we go into the afternoon, the color is starting to change a little bit. We get that kind of brownish orange color on the scale here. That's going to be that moderate to high on the Legend. Nonetheless, that's going to be because we have a lower relative humidity. The wind is going to crank up a little bit. So anything that gets going will have the ability to spread pretty quickly tomorrow. So just be mindful out there. Again, burn bans are in place for a lot of Central Florida. 40% shot for rain. We need it bad. We're hanging around the lower 90s on Saturday. I think most of us will be on the drier side on Saturday and Sunday. The best opportunity for rain over the next couple of days going to be at north central Florida. So here's the rest of this evening. Just a few of those puffy clouds, some of those higher thin clouds that remain out there as well. Tomorrow, we'll see just a stray opportunity for a few passing clouds. I think the slightly better chance for some rain comes later on Friday, especially north of Apopka, north of Orlando, right around Deltona, DeLand, as we have a weak little system kind of sliding through. There's 4 to 5 o'clock on your Saturday, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Just a few stray showers in the mix. Most of that going to stay to the north of us. Pride back in town on Friday. We are 93 degrees, staying in the lower 90s over the weekend. Mother's Day just dodging a few scattered thunderstorms. Should be a pretty good morning and afternoon for Mom. We're back to the upper 80s on Monday with a 50% chance for storms. We'll be right back.
Let's wrap it up with your top stories tonight. In Seminole County, we now have a better idea of what caused a sloth to die while being treated at the Central Florida Zoo. The zoo, which tried treating 13 sloths it took from Sloth World, says one of the sloths, Bandit, died from extreme weight loss. Experts are pushing for the banning of importing wild sloths now, and they say these are animals that are very sensitive to stress. Experts are meeting with prosecutors tomorrow.
One of the country's largest rock music festivals kicks off tomorrow night in Daytona Beach. The fans who will be pouring into Daytona International Speedway for Welcome to Rockville are going to be met with some record-breaking high temps, too. Event organizers say this year they added a lot more shaded areas and even some performances and events inside the Speedway this year.
And this is a story you'll care about at home. Money back in your pocket. Duke Energy customers are set to get a refund on utility bills. The state's Public Service Commission approved more than $90 million in refunds to customers yesterday. This stems from the storm restoration charge to customers from Hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton. Customers could see the refund as lowering their bill starting next month's billing cycle through September. And those can be some pretty ugly bills with this heat.
Yes, getting a taste of that, of course, tomorrow. 96, that will be setting records across most of Central Florida. Pride back in town on Friday. We're in the lower 90s through the weekend. Back to the upper 80s Monday and Tuesday. Rain chances going up there. There's not a ton of moisture coming in with this next system moving through. So we need the rain back.
We really do, yeah.
Jonathan, thank you. More news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Until then, have a good night, everybody. Stay cool.